Hello guys, in this tutorial I'm going to explain the steps for doing the lab report. Basically I'm going to use the guidelines that I explain in the classroom, so I'm going to follow the same steps that you can find in this document that you can find in Padlet. Okay, first of all, the title is the title of the lab practice. You need to use the title that you can find in the packet that I gave you for the lab, or you can use another more elaborate title. Secondly, you need to put the abstract. In the abstract, remember that you need to do a brief summary of the experiment, explaining in not more than 100 words. Okay, no more than 100 words. What was the experiment and what the main things that you did in the experiment, the results and the method should be about 100 words. For example, you should start saying that this experiment was to compare 3 different brands of paper towel, brand A, brand B, and brand C, and it was obtained different results, and you discuss the results that you obtain, and finally you discuss the method that you use, if it was correct or not, and basically giving the reader a general idea about the experiment. Once you have done the abstract, you do the introduction. In the introduction, you need to talk about the objective, is the purpose, or the question of inquiry. So you need to talk about the objective of the experiment. So the objective of the experiment is to demonstrate which brand of the 3 brands that we're using is the one that absorbs more water. Then you need to include your hypothesis. That also is your guess. In the packet I gave you, you have the structure of if and then, and here you can use the hypothesis that we did in the classroom, in the lab, or you can make a more elaborate hypothesis. And the third thing that you need to include in the introduction is the background information. Okay, in the background information, you need to include 3 things in the background information. So information about the materials that we use, Pileda, and the bandage, and the other cloth, the Allehop, or in other groups we use paper towel. So you need to find information about these 3 materials, and give information about the structure, the materials, the things that you think are important to include, to know more about those materials. Also, you need to talk about the concept of absorption. Okay, so definition, information, and other interesting data, okay, that you think is necessary to know for understanding better the absorption. And finally, you need to include information about the factors that affect absorption. Okay, factors that absorption. Factors that influence the absorption by the different materials. And others, here in others, okay, you can talk about the history of paper towels. You can talk about absorption by different liquids, etc. Okay, so this is basically what you need to include in the background information. Once you have finished the background information normally, okay, you need to include, okay, you need to include bibliography here, and the bibliography will be included at the end of the lab report. Of the lab report. Normally, you should use from 5 to 10 sources, and Wikipedia is not a source. Okay, Wikipedia is not a source. So Wikipedia, you can use Wikipedia to orientate your initial research, but Wikipedia is not a source. Okay, once you have done the background information, then you do the materials. The materials are the ones we use in the lab. Okay, the materials are the ones that we use in the lab, and you have the list. Okay, you have the list in the packet I gave you. Okay, you have the list. Also, you can include optional. You can include small pictures, or a short definition of the material. Okay, in the list of materials. Okay, once you have done the materials, then you do the procedure. Okay, the procedure. But before the procedure, okay, there is something. Okay, there is something called safety issues. Okay, or safety concerns. Safety concerns. So safety concerns are important things to be aware of when doing the experiment. For example, take care of glassware, and watch out your neighbor when working, and other things you consider important to mention for safety concerns in the lab. Okay, so here you will introduce any concerns that you have about safety before doing the experiment. So after the safety issues, safety concerns, you do the procedure. Okay, the procedure is the experimental steps. Okay, so here in the experimental steps, you need to include all the steps that you follow during the experiment. Okay, so you normally the steps you name the steps by 1, 2, 3, or A, B, C, and once you have done all the steps, in each step you can include for each step a picture that serves as an evidence of the step done by you. Okay, so you can include a small picture, okay, of the step done, and once you have done all the steps for the first trial, so at the end, imagine that is the 10th step, okay, the last step, you say all the steps above are the same for the 2 other samples of the same brand of material. Okay, so you don't need to repeat again all the steps for each trial that you do, and then we repeat this process for the other 2 brands of materials study. Okay, so in this case you are saying that you will repeat the same procedure for each trial, and you will repeat the same procedure for each material. Okay, so that will be the first section, okay, of the lab report. That corresponds, when you go to Padlet, corresponds, okay, if you go to the rubric, corresponds to the, okay, criteria V of, okay, criteria V of the rubric. So when you look at the rubric, okay, you have oh, I forgot about the variables. Okay, you need to include the variables. Yes, I forgot about the variables. The variables must be included, okay, after the materials. So it will be variables. Here in variables, what you do is to include a table, insert table with 3 columns. So the first column is the type of variable. The second column is the name of variable, and the third column is the definition of the variable. Type of variable, you have dependent, independent, and constant or control. The name of the variable, the dependent is the water absorbed. The independent are the brands of paper towel, and the control, we have 5 different, well, we're going to consider 5 different control variables. We're going to consider the temperature, we're going to also consider the pressure, the volume, the time, and finally the water. And here in the definition of the variable, you define how you're going to control that variable. The water absorbed, you're going to control measuring the quantity of water absorbed. Okay, the brands of paper towel, using 3 different brands, and then you define the brands. Brand A, that is Vileda. Brand B, that is Alehop or paper towel. And brand C is the bandage. In here, for the control variables, you need to explain, for example, for temperature, we work at the same temperature. That is the temperature that we have at the laboratory. The pressure, the atmospheric pressure, the volume, we use a fixed volume that is 50 milliliters. The time, we are working always with the same time, 2 minutes, and the water is the water that we use. That is the water of the sink of the lab. And then after the variables, the procedure, and that will be the first part, as I said, of the rubric of the lab report. And you can see here that will correspond to criteria B of the lab report. So this is the first part of the tutorial for making the lab report.